Hello everybody and welcome back to the Albion News Gaming channel. This is the second episode of the footballing podcast. Before we get into it, I'd just like to say make sure to subscribe, like, share on Twitter, follow me on Twitter so you never miss the upload. Remember, when you do subscribe, hit that bell. It is greatly appreciated. But let's get into it. Now we're going to start off with the Women's World Cup, which is picking up some speed now, especially for England. England beat Norway 3-0. Norway weren't the best defensively. They were a bit brain dead, you could call them. They conceded 2 goals that were the same kind of free kick setup, so that shouldn't be happening. Anyway, England play the 2015 Women's World Cup winners, America, and it's not going to be an easy game for them. It's going to be a really hard game, but let's see how the Lionesses do. And I think it could be coming home for England. I think this is one of the biggest chances England have had. Of course, the 2018 World Cup was pretty close. I think this is another really close one for England getting some silverware. And of course, England did get some silverware in the under 18s? I'm probably wrong there, I forget. Anyway, moving on to West Bromwich Albion, who we've had quite a bit of news on about a moment. Of course, the caretaker, or the former caretaker, Jimmy Shan, has left. Now, Jimmy Shan took over after Darren Moore was sacked for the rest of the season. And, we weren't far off being promoted. We were actually 2 wins off being promoted. If we got 2 wins, we would have been automatically promoted. We weren't far off. We played against Villa. There were some controversial decisions that, if gone our way, we could have potentially gone to final. And I think Derby, we could have had a good chance of beating. No disrespect to Derby. They would have had a good chance of beating us, but I still think it would be I still think we would have a good chance of beating them. He has left. I'm not absolutely distraught he's left. I like him and I would have rather him stay, but I hope he, turns into a good manager. It'd be nice to see him. He's a nice guy. He's a lovely guy. And the replacement at the moment going around is maybe talk of Julian Dix, who I think might have worked with Bilic at West Ham. Anyway, he's a West Ham legend, is Julian Dix. I think he's got some he's managed before, so he's got managerial experience, but I think it'd be a good appointment if he knows Bilic, which I can't say for sure at the moment. Anyway, there's some news, a bit not some great news. We're not getting lots of great news that Dawson will probably be leaving the club to go to Watford for about £5.5 million, and it could rise to about £11 million potentially over time. But again, I'm not distraught he's leaving. You kind of get to a mental stage where you realise not all of your best players are going to stay. I would have liked for a bit more money for him though. Maybe £10 million up front with about £1 million in add-ons would have been a bit of a better deal, but it wouldn't surprise me if he goes to another club though, because I know he's set to move, but Burnley, it wouldn't surprise me if they try and get him. If they might be able to pick him up for about £6 million, which would be a bit more. Anyway, let's see. Of course, Foster might have influenced the move, as he knows Dawson quite well from being teammates at West Brom a few years ago. Of West Brom news is, well, I think at the moment it is just tabloid journalism, and there's not much depth in it. And that's that Charlie Austin, the former QPR striker and now Southampton striker, is being linked with a move to the club. And if we had him on relatively low wages, and he would be fit for the season, he would be probably the best striker in there. Would be an absolutely amazing player to bring in. But of course, he's not got a good injury record, and his wages will be quite high, which will implement the kind of how good the other players will be, and that we get in. So I'm not sure about him, and I don't think there's any depth in it. I think it's just there might be rumours coming from Southampton he wants to leave, and we might just be thinking we need a striker. I don't know. Let's see. As I say, if Matt Wilson or John Percy reports them, which are two journalists, then then we're interested in him. Until that, don't take anything for granted. But what Matt Wilson has said recently is that West Bromwich Albion want to make a move for Benfica centre attacking midfielder Krovinic. Now, he is Croatian, which is a massive surprise, but he's not really played a lot recently. He's played 7 appearances last season. 3 of them were for the Benfica B team, 4 of them were for the first team, and he didn't get any goals or assists in that. And he only got 1 goal and 1 assist in 13 appearances last season. But he's only 23 and he's showing a lot of promise. And he has had seasons in the Portuguese league where he's looked like a really good player. So I wouldn't be too down and out on this signing. I wouldn't be too against it. I think it would be a good signing to make if we got him. And as I said, Matt Wilson has said it, so I think we're interested in him. I don't think it's like this Turkish player. I forget his name, but this German player, sorry, that plays in Turkey. I don't think there's much depth in that, but I think there is some depth in this. Now, I've been speculating a bit today, sorry, that maybe when Dawson leaves, if Dawson leaves, that West Brom might then make the move for Reece Oxford, and it might happen quite quickly. I mean, we've not heard anything from Matt Wilson or John Percy that we're definitely interested in him. So, we might not even go for him, but I think it is likely that we might see him come up at the club quite soon. In related news, ex-West Bromwich Albion manager Darren Moore could be linked with the Derby job if Frank Lampard goes, and well, he has played for Derby. And he did okay with us last season. He got sacked, but it's gonna be a weird one for Derby. Like, for me, if I was Derby, I'd rather someone with a bit more experience than Darren Moore, someone more like your Gary Monk kind of player, maybe Houghton, someone like that, or you could go ambitious and go for someone like Bruno Labbadia. I think just go with someone with a bit more experience. I would maybe even consider someone like Tony Mowbray. He's got 2 promotions, and he did pretty well with Blackburn last season, considering that they have a great squad. So, sorry. I think that would be a good appointment if they got Mowbray. It'd be a bit of a controversial one, and you might prefer someone like Houghton or Labbadia than Mowbray, but I think they should at least think about him. In non-West Bromwich Albion related news, it looks like Matt Targett, the Southampton left back, is on his way to Villa for about £14 million, which I'm not gonna lie, it's quite a lot of money that for a player like Targett, who's a good player, and I would take him at the Albion. But I'm not sure if he's worth £40 million. I think he's Premier League quality. I think he's good enough for Aston Villa, but I don't think he's worth £40 million. Norwich have put a bid in for Robinson. Now, I know quite a bit about Robinson. I know he's a good player. He scored 12 goals last season. I know quite a lot about him through a YouTuber called Ben HD, who is a really good YouTuber. And he's a Preston fan, which is who Robinson plays for. And he says that they probably need to cash in on him as he's only got a year left in his contract, but he's a good player. And it'd be an interesting one to see how he does in the Prem. Che Adams is now being linked with Southampton. Now, we talked about Austin potentially going to West Brom early in the video, and if he did go, I think Che Adams would be a really good replacement, or if Austin left in general. But he scored 20 goals in 44 appearances last season. Now, he'd probably get about 10, 11 goals in the Prem. So I think that'd be a really good signing if they made it. Now we have got a few confirmed transfers that have happened in the last few days, and that's Wan-Bissaka has joined Manchester United for £50 million. Now, he's a really promising young player, and he's only had about one really good season. Now, I'm not saying he's not going to do well, because I genuinely think he's going to be a top player. I put him on my fantasy team. But I'm not sure if they needed to throw £50 million. It almost sounds like when you just start playing FIFA, you go onto career mode, there's a player you want, you think, I really want him, so I'm going to offer them loads of money to make sure I get him without actually thinking you might be able to get him for cheaper. And that's what it seems like to me. I think more around the region of £20 million. I'm not sure if this was a good move by Solskjaer. I'm not sure if I would have even gone for him if they said we'll let him have for £50 million. Maybe do a deal. United have got some good players that we don't really need, that someone like Palace would have. Maybe offer them like £25 million plus, I don't know, someone like Phil Jones, or maybe someone like Joel Pereira. Just get the price down a little bit by offloading somebody you don't mind leaving. I mean, of course, wages will be an issue for Palace, but I think that'd be a better way to go for it. Now, if Zaha leaves Palace for about £40 million, and then now they've got £50 million from Wan-Bissaka, they will have about £90 million. So that's about £60-70 million to spend on transfer fees. That is a lot of money. And for me, when Everton sold Lukaku for a few years ago, they spent it in a lot of areas. And that's what I think Palace need to do, is don't buy one player to replace Zaha, one player to replace Wan-Bissaka. Buy quite a lot of players to strengthen that squad. And I think that's what Hodgson will do. Of course, they've got £50 million, and that will probably get them about 2 or 3 decent players. If Wan-Bissaka went, and of course they'll have transfer fee left over, that probably could get them about 7 or 8 good players for that squad. I don't know the transfer fee, but if that's about £120 million, for about £40 million probably to spend on players, that'd give them about £100 million with the Zaha and Wan-Bissaka sales. So that will give them a lot of money to invest in other players. Anyway, we've talked quite a lot about Wan-Bissaka and Zaha, so we're going to move on now to James Justin, who has made a step from Luton to Leicester. He did quite well at Luton, I've heard, last season. I do know a Luton supporter. Sounds like it's going to be a good player, around the region of about £40 million. He's a young, promising player. And this is what Leicester do. They often buy young players and turn them into better players. Take Maddison, or they did it with Mahrez. Kante was not young, but not particularly old, or really reached his prime yet when they signed him. So I think this could really pay off, and they might be able to get some money from further down the line. Another confirmed deal is that Pablo Fornal, someone who actually bought in career mode, has joined West Ham United, and again I've put him in my fantasy team because he's been scoring lots of goals for Spain's under-21s, and I know it's only for under-21s, but he's really done well in Spain over the last few years, and I think he's going to be a top-class signing. I mean, look at that now. For me, if I was Pellegrini, this is who I'd start. I would go with Fabianski in goal, Zabaleta, Diop, if he stays, with Balbuena and Masuaku in midfield. Then I would go with someone like Carlo Sanchez in defensive midfield, Yarmolenko, Lanzini, Fornal, and Felipe Anderson in the midfield, with Marco Arnautovic scoring goals for fun up top. And breathe. Anyway, share and subscribe. Anyway, make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Hit that notification bell. No, wait. Smash that notification bell. So you never miss any of the uploads that I will make. Now, leave your comments if there's any series you would like to... Series? Is that a series? Make sure to leave your comments if there's any things you would like me to do on this channel in the comment section below. make sure to leave a comment. I always enjoy reading them. Anyway, see you in the next video. Have a great day. Have a great week. Have a great eternity. Goodbye.